let's see what's going on with the collective for love this week. Remember, we are shortening. Oh, I said this on the live on Instagram. I'm cutting some of the cards down to make this go quicker. You're not going to be losing any potency, though. We did get a Nine of Swords in reversed here. We got a Knight of Pentacles is our challenge. We got our overall as a Seven of Swords reversed, and we got a Page of Pentacles in reversed here. I brought the Morgan Greer out, too. I'm liking this reading because I almost feel like, I know we might feel like we don't know where to go, or we feel stuck, or maybe we're kind of paused right now about our love lives. And that might not be a bad thing. I think that we really are, almost feeling like there's a lot of clearing that's happening and a lot of things getting over that have happened that woke us up in many ways about our own lives, our own relationships life. But I almost feel like we're almost feeling like a little bit like, is there anything out there that is going to change in my life? I feel like that's kind of the energy. Yeah, it is. Knight of Wands. Definitely we have to have the courage to leap into our new energies with our love lives. I feel like, you know what, the way that we had the world and we thought our lives were going to go with our love lives aren't going that way. And that's a good thing, I feel. Yeah, and I almost feel like it does feel like it's okay to like look at the options of life and what do you really want. I think it's almost like we're repicking a new dream in our lives. Like it's almost like maybe we liked people because they brought us, I don't know, the serpent. And now it's like, no, maybe I kind of want the drama, or maybe I kind of want something else. But I feel like this Seven of Swords and this Nine of Swords reversed is definitely kind of feeling this really kind of like big wake up call that's happened. And where do we go next? To have the courage to go where we need to go next. Like wherever that's going to be. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune with a Ten of Wands. I'm feeling like it's like, we're too worried, I think, about what's on the next side of this. Like, is this going to, it feels like we know there's a lot of good things going to be happening, but we almost feel like, is it going to be too much wait for me to do this or hold on? Or is it all just going to be like all this energy I'm going to go towards and it's going to feel like it's too much at the end of the day for me to hold on to? But I think we have to get rid of our past experiences that have not gone right in our love lives to realize that doesn't mean that that's what's going forward. I think that us holding the weight of our past experiences or the fears of our past experience is the weight itself. And I think that's what we're getting over here. What does Camelot have to say for us for this collective reading, for this, especially this full moon Libra with Jupiter, Neptune conjunct, and with Mars leaving Aquarius and coming into Pisces? It's going to be a big deal. Let me turn this off here. There we go. So, I'm glad we didn't get a grade. We got Rhiannon, but I've always felt like she's like a grade's like friend. But, it is that integrity. Maybe it is finding that integrity in ourselves and the endurance to keep going, which is she feels very Tens of Wands-ish to me. It's because it's that perseverance to go. But I do feel like that focus is there. And I think that, you got to keep going on. It might feel like it's a crazy race or something, but it's not a race. It's just more about going with things and keeping the energy moving forward towards the fortune and not letting our past shit really get us anymore and not feel like, oh, there's no offers. It's more like you not willing to jump towards creating offers or whatever offers come towards you and having those kind of fears, which I think is kind of sad. So I'm cutting it shorter through here, through the Oracle, and I'm cutting it shorter with a couple other places, just keeping it with one card. We got the Mars card. Definitely there's a lot of taking action. I'm definitely feeling that. With that Knight of Rods that came up, and I was looking for some answers here. And we did get Rhiannon. So, and Rhiannon feels kind of like, she kind of looks kind of Marsy. She is with the horse. She does have the endurance, but definitely that Mars energy, that action-oriented energy, and that definition energy. Like, it's like easy to define, easy to talk to, easy to understand who the person is Or you in yourself have to be willing to show who you are. If you're definitely too much hiding in who you are, I don't think this is going to be a good time. Or with people who don't really know how to express who they are, this is definitely not, it's going to feel like it's too sloppy. And I feel like to get out of the sloppiness, there has to be some definition. There has to be some, at least some sort of identity connection, and definitely some action energies. We got jealousy as our shadow here. So I think collectively right now, it's like, I think the shadow is that we keep putting ourselves through kind of this fear of changing course and this punishment and the envy of like, maybe, I don't even think we're envious of other people. I think we're just envious of like what we could better have in our lives, of just how we deal with our lives better and take more action instead of not. And I don't think that we want to get caught up like sitting in a place where we don't feel like I don't want FOMO to continue to happen. But the funny thing is, the worst is MO, missing out. Like, this is definitely where we don't want to be missing out. We were having revelations that Ganesh came up with. So I always look at this card as the one card where Ganesh is like, I am coming down with the fucking universe, motherfucker. It is time. It is a judgment. It is a huge moment in your life that is definitely changing the course of your life here. And you can't be afraid of it. And you got to take the action towards it. And you got to let it happen. I feel like you just got to in life. Like, this is definitely a time for you to do that. And definitely not be scared of these things. So instead of doing where I go into singles and all that and sex and blah, 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 what I'm doing now on this portion here is I'm just going to clarify just this card, and then I'm going to pull one more Avalon card from a different set, and that is what she's writing for us. Yeah, look at that, Queen of Rods. The revelation this week is having that loyalty, that real place in life where we beautifully come and we stick our energy. And where's that energy that we really want to enrich and bring that sunflower of that really happiness, that love? But also there's that loyalty with it. There's that true, positive, glowing energy. Anything that doesn't feel like that, it's just a sign that that's not it. And I know that I'm not here saying that you don't have to go through the work when it comes to relationships, but I feel like this is a time where it's like, where's that door that's glowing right now? And even when you do work and relationships, there's always a glowing door that makes it worth the work, you know? But when it's not got any glow to it, and it hasn't had any glow to it, I don't think that that's something to really, you know what I mean? I think it's hard, though, when it feels like maybe, I don't know, you feel like there's glow and somebody else doesn't feel like there's glow. But I'm not really getting any kind of like, I think people are willing to move into the energy and stop carrying the load of like stuff that isn't working or stuff that they can't have or situations like that. Like, but you don't want to be holding on to anything that doesn't allow you to change course in your life. And we got the King. Oh my gosh, how crazy. In the other Avalon deck here, we did get Mr. King Arthur himself, which is that masculine energy. We did get a Mars card here. We got that revelation. There's definitely a lot of this masculine take action, male sexual energy, authority, and things pertaining to the law, justice, things that are fair in our lives. I do feel like it's important for us to really sit in that place. And we did get the Queen of Wands. So there's that King and Queen energy. That's the only thing that's going to work right now. And, you know, and it feels that way. I mean, when you definitely get Jupiter and Neptune together in Pisces, there's definitely, you know, this really kind of really big, spiritual, extravagant energy. And that's where you get King and Queens. So it's kind of interesting to see that. I think the last thing I'll do is I pick a major. I'll pick a major here in the major deck. That's going to be the way that I do it to cut time on everybody's reading. And now I got all the cards in the right spots. We know exactly where we're going to go. And you know what? We're going to find out what the villain we're all going to be through the major. I'm feeling like that.
Mm.
Oh,
jeez. Thing it just worked. There we go.
There we go. What is the villain that you were being? Using the major arcana. The Hangman. Stop hanging yourself at a place you don't want to be or holding yourself back from things that you really want to do or be with. Well, We did get Mars. Mars is showing up a lot. We're going to pay attention to Mars this week. 10th house, Gemini. Making big moves in our life that stimulate us, having those conversations, and honestly finding that environment that actually is going to take us to a better place. And also thinking about what actually works in our life. Where can we actually grow more in our lives and take the action towards and really exalt ourselves into a stronger place? That's way more exciting. That's way more thrilling and way more on the connective front.
Yep. I think that it is important to pay attention to Mars. It's Aries season still. You know, this week it's the final week of Aries season. So, yeah. And a Mars ingress into Pisces, I think we definitely need to figure out these patterns and these cycles in life and figure out how to identify with more of a surrender, more of a flow. We need to dedicate, we need to pursue, but it's also like, I don't know, Mars in Pisces, you can't just like brute force it. It's not going to work. So it's like, got to kind of force things where it's really in alignment. I would say that this full moon this week's a really big deal for relationships. It's a full moon in Libra. That's always a big deal for relationships, but it's square Pluto, and the sun square Pluto, T square Pluto. It's going to transform relationships. Maybe it's the way that we have been identifying with relationships in our life, how we're finding balance and justice with other people, other souls, and learning how to flow into the right connections. And Saturn square the nodes. There's so much going on, and I think the biggest thing here is there's this vibrational shift that's taking place, and this is about justifying your life for like what that frequency is. So you got to make big transformations to get there. Maybe it's just going in more. Maybe it's just being more intense, or maybe it's actually things have to die off. I wouldn't be surprised if there were like a lot of endings to relationships this week, breakups, because they're just not on the same path. It's like if you were faking it up until now, I don't know if you can fake it anymore. There's too much of a spiritual, almost a split, it feels like, because that's where choices are being made. So it's like one of those big decision weeks. And you kind of got to just let your soul guide you and not force yourself into any situations with love, especially that are, they're keeping you in patterns. David said something great this weekend, and it was like Pisces and swimming in this little pond, and it's like we've all graduated. We're all big fish now. We've learned so much, and now it's like really graduating to that ocean, to that bigger pond, whatever it is, and really having more freedom to swim, and not just going around loops in this little fish tank even. So there's a lot to decide
Full of
this
shit.
week.
Full of shit.
Oh God, yeah, a little fish tank full of shit.
Or an RV full of black water.
That was, yeah. That's gross.
I think you said it best, dude. I think it is important to start and look at this Aries transit. But I think this Pisces one makes it difficult for people. But this full moon almost kind of brings that truth out. Like, this isn't an alignment, or this really is. So it's like, I think you can't be afraid of things being misaligned, because that means that only an alignment's following it, or that's happening. So I think that this is not about learning to have zero fear with the square to Pluto with this full moon. And even Jupiter and Neptune are in a slight sextile to Pluto. Like, this is about having no fear of whatever's the truth. Yeah. No fear to what's the best for you in your life. Yep. And to get out of the patterns that really don't work in your life anymore, and to get out of the relationship situations that really are toxic, and to really put yourself in the best place, because that's what's going to bring the best relationships anyways. And with Mars coming into Pisces, I feel like there is that need to really step into. And really, if you look at your own natal chart, Mars is going to come activate all of where Jupiter's gone, because it's been 2 years since Mars has been here.
I can't remove me.
Jeez. Siri just doesn't want to go away. But Mars, like that's a toxic relationship. Siri and I have a toxic relationship. But that's the whole thing. Mars is going to activate where Jupiter's been in your chart. Remember that last year, there was no Mars in Pisces. Okay? So you have not seen where Jupiter has been yet, where Mars actually has even been activating the Jupiter of last year in your chart. So it's like Mars right now is actually activating so much in our charts right now that we have to pay attention to it really intensely, especially because it does come retrograde at the end of this year in Gemini. So we're not going that many more signs up with Mars. And Jupiter's only going Aries this year. So it's like, this is the time where we really got to use this energy, especially with all the planets direct, Jupiter, Neptune conjunct, a full moon in Libra, square Pluto, Mercury now in Taurus, trying to really understand the environment with Uranus there and making the best changes for us to move forward in our lives. So it's going to be quite honestly powerful.
Yeah.
Let's use the first sign. Who needs the most help?